In this video I'm going to show you how to make some savoury stuffed fillet steak based on a little recipe that I picked up many moons ago, free with some magazine or other. The ingredients for the stuffing are some chestnut mushrooms, some onions, some soy sauce and some tarragon. This is fresh from my garden. And a frying pan with some oil, sunflower oil. And that stuffing is going to go into this beautiful piece of fillet steak, which I got from a local butcher. Now the first thing I've done is peel the onions, and I'm going to slice them very thinly. While I've been slicing the onions, I've put the gas on under the frying pan and I'm heating the oil. With the onions sliced, I'm going to add them to the frying pan and we'll fry them until they are soft and just slightly browned. Should take about 4 minutes. And while the onions are frying, I'm going to slice the chestnut mushrooms very thinly. Now the onions have softened and are slightly golden brown, and I'm going to add the sliced mushrooms. And give that a bit of a stir. I'm going to lower the heat, put the lid on and allow them to soften. And while that's happening, I'm going to chop the tarragon. You don't need a great deal of tarragon in this dish. It's a very strong flavoured herb, like aniseed. When that's chopped, I'm going to add it to the mixture. Give it a bit of a stir. You can see the mushrooms are reducing. And the last thing to be added to this is some dark soy sauce. About a tablespoon. And give that stir. And there we have the stuffing ready to cool down. I'm now going to prepare the fillet of beef for the stuffing. This is about 400 grams of fillet. I asked the butcher to cut it from the middle of the fillet because ideally you want it to be as square as possible. As you can see, there's a slight taper towards this end. This fillet would obviously continue down to a point at this end and get thicker at that end. So the middle bit is what you want, and you also need a very sharp knife. Now you're going to cut a hole in the fillet, and you start on top close to one end, but you don't want to cut through the end of the joint. So you just go straight down with the knife there, and you don't want to reach through the bottom, just close to the bottom of the joint, and then just cut towards the other end like that. And it's important that you stop before you reach the other end of the joint. And there you have a pocket ready for the stuffing to go in. Now, according to the original recipe, that's as far as you would go. You would just stuff that with some of the stuffing, but I like to do something a little bit fancier. I make another cut on either side towards the bottom. Again, being careful not to go through the bottom of the joint, and to stop before you reach the end. Turn it round, do the same thing here. Now it's difficult to see at this stage why I should be doing this, but when the joint is finished you will see why. So there we are, we have 3 little pockets in the fillet ready to accept the stuffing. Okay, here we are. The steak is prepared and the stuffing is cooled down enough to be handled. Simply just take some of the stuffing and stuff it into the holes in the fillet. Just press it in gently. There's no need to overstuff it because any stuffing that's left over is going to be served with the meal. And there we are. Now that stuffing will impart a really nice flavour to the cooked steak. The last thing we have to do now is tie up the joint so that it keeps its shape in the oven. If this was a longer piece of fillet, you maybe want to tie it 2 or 3 times, but since this is really quite a thick part of the fillet, then 1 tie in the middle will probably be enough. Here you will see the sailor and fireman in me tying a proper professional butcher's knot. And if I pull on this, it should tighten up nicely. And there we are. And this is ready for the next stage, which is browning the meat before it goes into the oven. Now for the next stage, I've taken a small pot, put some sunflower oil in the bottom of it and heated it up. I'm going to now lower the fillet steak into the pot. It will sizzle and spit quite a bit, so it's a good idea to put the lid on, just leave it in there for half a minute or so, and then turn it round until eventually all the sides have been browned. And while this has been going on, I have heated the oven to 230 degrees C, and the steak is going to be wrapped in foil, placed in a tray like this one, and put in the middle of the oven. Regarding timings, it's really a matter of how you like your steak cooked. We like it pretty well done with no blood whatsoever, so it'll be in the oven for at least 25, maybe 30 minutes. If you like your steak rare, then you have to adjust the timings accordingly. chef's perch. That's the last side done. Get a bit of oil. And wrap it up. And there we are, ready for the oven. Well, I've now taken the steak out of the oven after about 25 minutes, and it's been allowed to rest for about 10 minutes. Now going to open it up and see if it's cooked to our liking. So far so good. Let's take the string off. And we'll cut it down through the middle. Open it up. That's just about cooked to perfection. And now you can see why I made those extra cuts in the fillet steak, because the stuffing, having been done in this manner, makes quite a pretty little design and looks very nice on the plate. This will be served with some mange tout and some garlic mashed potato. Perfect.